Welcome back to Abundant Behavior Podcast. I'm your host, Ali Banks. And on my platform, what I like to do is I like to bring business and faith and combine it all on one platform. You know, they say that the biggest gap in the world is between knowing and doing. And the reason a lot of people don't do simply is because they lack the knowledge. I love to bring various entrepreneurs from various walks of life, different endeavors on my platform, just so they can give you guys a few gems, share their story, just so they can help you get to your destination a little bit faster. But today I'd like to bring you guys Word Wednesday. And this is when I bring you guys a word from the Bible that I've been meditating on, something that God put on my spirit. And I like to bring it into real life scenarios to help you guys in your everyday life. Today's topic is going to be to keep moving in the face of adversity. I know a lot of people, they hear this word adversity, and for a lot of people, adversity can be the defining point whether somebody continues something or whether they stop. Adversity can be somebody telling you no. Adversity can be maybe you had some funding you thought was going to come through, but it fell through. Whatever it can be. Adversity is simply something that happened negatively that stopped you from accomplishing whatever you wanted to accomplish. So today I want to talk about how to keep going through adversity, even when you are faced with challenges, how to get on the other side of that to get the equal reward. So before we start, I want to just define what adversity actually means. And when I looked up the word adversity, it just said difficulties or misfortunes. And when I read that, something stood out to me. This difficulties or misfortunes. At no part in this definition did they say failure. So simply what this means is at some point in your journey, you ran into something that was difficult or something that was misfortunate or not misfortunate, unfortunate. And it caused you a delay. It caused a setback. It caused you to stop dead in your tracks. A lot of times we can be so happy during the journey, Lord, whatever it is, we can be so excited. But right when somebody tells us no in our business, or right when we get a setback in our business, now we not smiling no more. You know, everything isn't going to be green and good to go all the time in business. Some things are going to feel like it's pushing you and growing you, but that's just God building you up to walk into this next season of life. I used to always want everything to feel so comfortable or start questioning things, or why is this that way, or why is that way. But I started to move into these newer seasons and I start to see those same difficulties kept coming up, but the way that I handled them were differently. You're going to run into adversity with everything you do. So if you think running away from a difficult situation in business is going to stop you from running into difficulties, period, it's not going to happen. So like I said, difficulties or misfortune, it doesn't mean failure. So when you get into a difficult situation or misfortune, all you have to do is try to figure out, okay, I'm at a roadblock. How can I go around this? It's not the end all be all. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like me. I tell you guys a quick story. When I was handling my business for my pop-up shop, I kept running into this situation where I couldn't find a food truck vendor. I was searching. I was all on social media, sending my information to a lot of third-party sites that would reach out to food trucks, and nobody reached out. Nobody was reaching back. Nobody was in the price range that I needed. Nobody wanted to do the hours that I recommended. And a lot of people just didn't want to do the pop-up shop because when you hear pop-up shop, that's not a guaranteed number of customers. So many people just didn't want to do it because they were thinking about, hey, well, we'll be coming out for no reason if this pop-up shop only has 2 or 3 people, which I get. So if I would have just took these no's and took what they said as law and said, okay, well, nobody's going to come to my pop-up shop, so I'm just going to stop trying to reach out to food trucks. I said, no, let me sit back for a little bit, pray on it, meditate, and let me try to reach out to some more people. So I had my little sister sending out emails to food trucks, and I went to this event one Friday. So I had my event the Friday, 7 days after this event that I'm attending right now. So on this Saturday, my event is it's Saturday. My event is 7 days later, and I'm seeing at this event they have food trucks lined up all outside. In my head, I'm like, okay, this is my cue to go ahead, and this is God putting me in a position to get to that advantage after I faced all this adversity with these food trucks. Sometimes we have to put ourselves in a position to get over this adversity, right? What did I do? I came to a place where I knew food trucks would be. I put myself in a position to get out of this adversity. I didn't just face this adversity and stand there and say, oh God, when are you going to make it better? I took the necessary steps in order to move myself out of that situation. God put me in alignment, but I had to do the extra work. I gave him 1%. He gave me 100. But long story short, I walked up to this food truck and I was discussing the lady about my event, the days, the time. And she was like, I think somebody already reached out to me. My sister had already reached out to the lady. She had me already in the queue. But if I would have given up, if I would have never followed through, if I would have never tried, God would have never met me halfway. So whenever you're met with an opposition or you ever met with adversity, just that's when you need to jump into think mode. What can I do? How can we maneuver? What's another way we can go about this? Who else can we ask? Ask God. He will reveal it to you. He will start to bring all the people to you. Everything will start to make sense if you keep moving. But when you stay stagnant, you sitting there looking like, you know what I'm saying? That wasn't really my thing. Or, I wasn't really too serious about that anyway. You start feeding yourself excuses simply because you didn't want to get past that adversity. And I have a book actually called Adversity and Advantage by Napoleon Hill. And he was talking about having definitive purpose. A way that most people can handle adversity is simply by having a definite of purpose. And I'm going to have this right here so you guys can read it when I edit it in post. But it says definitive purpose automatically develops self-reliance, personal initiative, imagination, enthusiasm, self-discipline, and concentration of effort. All of these being prerequisites for attainment of success. So you see, having a definite purpose is simply knowing where you're going in life, knowing where God is taking you. When you know where God is taking you and you know your purpose, you're not going to let a little adversity stop you from getting to that. It's not, I don't care how many times I hear no. I don't care how many food trucks told me no. I was getting a food truck at my pop-up shop because that is what God said needed to be at that pop-up shop. And I was going to get it there one way or the other. Having that definite purpose. I know this is all aligned with my mission. I have to complete every step of this part of the mission or it's going to be an incomplete mission. And that's just how I felt. It says that it helps you develop self-reliance, personal initiative. Like I said, I went out there and I'm searching them food trucks. I'm knocking down doors. I'm not waiting for them to come to me. I'm taking that personal initiative. I got in my imagination and my enthusiasm. All right, let me think. Where will food trucks be? Where do they? Oh, they be at events. Okay, cool. So I use my self-discipline. All right, I know I didn't feel like, after that event, I didn't feel like walking up to these food trucks, but you got to have the self-discipline in order to do this, the concentration, being able to talk to people, walk up to them, sell yourself, sell your brand. This is what definitive purpose does. It puts in your mind, if this doesn't work, it has to work. And that is the way that you have to think about everything. If this doesn't work, worst case scenario, it works. That's how I go into everything, knowing it's going to work, knowing it has to. What else? Why would it not? And it takes a lot of people a long time to get to that point where they can just, their mind is operated in a flow like that. But you have to feed your mind positive affirmations every day. Feed your mind positive things. It goes on to say, I skipped a little paragraph, then it goes on to say it inspires confidence in one's integrity and character, and it attracts the favorable attention of people who may aid one in the attainment of one's aim and purpose in life. So what is that saying? Having definite purpose, like I was saying, when you're on your journey, God is going to align you with the people, the businesses, the funding. He's going to give you everything that you need. He just doesn't want you to give up. He knows it's not going to be a super simple task, but he definitely knows you can get it done because he knows all the power that he's bestowed in you already. He just wants to see if you're gonna keep on moving, having that faith, believing him, trusting him, getting in your imagination and figuring out a way to make sure that it gets done. Because how many of us could agree that whenever something we really want to get done, we figure out a way to get it done. But when it comes to things like Maybe we started a new business, or maybe we just get into the gym, or maybe it's eating healthy. When we try to accept these new things into our life and they're a little bit difficult, or we run into adversity, we start to, like I said, we start to tell ourselves, that's not really for me. When all actuality, you want it to be for you. It's just brand new, and you don't know how to combat this adversity that's coming your way. It then says, it makes one success conscious, this being the first step in the direction of a successful achievement in all its undertaking. It makes you success conscious. When you're going through this journey and you're purposefully getting past this adversity and you're knocking down these challenges, it's just reassurance to you, like, hey, I done already came this far. I know God didn't bring me this far to just leave me right here. So you keep going. You knock down some more doors. And the more doors you knock down of adversity, your resilience starts to build up. Your tolerance for negativity starts to build up. You're becoming stronger without you even knowing it. But without this adversity, without these challenges, how would you have ever grown into this new season? You have to change the way you look at things. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So whenever you run into a situation or an occurrence where you feel like it's blocking your blessing, just know that it's a lesson inside of that blessing that's going to carry you into the next season of life. Because the person that you are, the resilience that you have, the strong mind that you build up, it's not going to be the same strong mind in the next season. You have to build it up even more. You're going to have to endure more. You're going to have to go through more adversity. But never get too high on the highs. Never get too low on the lows, because reality is always somewhere in the middle. So to end this Word Wednesday off, I just want to bring you guys a word from the Bible. And it's coming from the book of James. And I'm sure you've all heard it. It's coming from James 2. It's titled, Testing Your Faith. It reads, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete and not lacking anything." So the first part of that says, count it pure joy when you're going through these various trials, when you're going through this adversity. Count it joy. Like, love this. Like, when you run into a no, or you run into a situation that's blocking you, just clap it up. Okay, God, how can I get around this one? Man, it got to a point where I started praying for adversity, because I knew the more adversity I faced, the stronger I became, the better person I was. Like, okay, I see how this works now. It ain't about getting the good. It's about having both. You get the good and the bad. The bad bring you up. The good bring you up. But you have to know how to count it pure joy. Like, I'm joyful when I run into situations like that, because I'm like, yeah, okay, He making me stronger. God making me stronger. With every piece of adversity, you get stronger and stronger. So count it pure joy is what he's saying. Like, be joyful when you get it. Don't be upset. Don't be mad. Don't tuck your tail. Be joyful. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. The testing of your faith, steadfastness. It helps you to stand still for a second and see really, if you got faith or not. That's what it's going to do. It's going to really test that faith. It's going to have you stand still for a minute. It's going to see if you really test, if this trial going to make or break you. And if your faith is good, you go through. If not, you give up. Let the steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect, complete, lacking nothing. Like I was saying, this adversity is going to turn you into the person you need to be in order to walk into this next season of life. The person that you are isn't going to be able to withstand all of this stuff. I remember when I was doing my pre-sale for my clothing brand, I was telling myself, God, I want to have 150 sets. I want to sell out all 150, and I'm just having these big dreams and goals for myself, because I like to dream big. I like to aim high. Like, if I'm going to shoot for the stars. And so I'm like, okay, cool. But I only end up selling about 60. But just going through those 60, having to ship all these 60 out, make these labels, contact all these customers, I was like, nah, God, I wasn't ready for 150. But you have to be able to be real with yourself when you run into situations where you was asking for a lot in one season. He didn't bless you with how much you wanted. And then you couldn't even really handle what he gave you. So you like, okay, God, I see how this works here. Like he said, he only puts on you what you can bear. So just knowing that adversity is something that he knows you can bear, why not try to get through it? Why not try to get to that other side? Count it pure joy. Right? So you guys want to get over these difficulties and misfortunes. You want to get to that land of milk and honey in the face of adversity. Don't let a challenge stop you. Keep going. I hope that you guys resonated with this word. Meditate on it a little bit. I hope you was taking some notes. This was Word Wednesday. Continue to tune in because we only going to be getting better.